Welcome to We Learn Network. This is session 11 on data storage management. In this session we are going to cover topic logical volume management, storage metadata servers, virtualization at storage target, array-based virtualization, distributed modular array virtualization, fabric-based virtualization, sentence SANs, and technique for switch-based virtualization. Now the about logical volume management. As in the previous session we discussed about the volume storage. Now the volume management, this is a logical volume manager. That task maybe here the fairly simple, such as you can say us partitioning a large disk asset into the smaller and more manageable to a virtual disk, or fairly that can be you can say that fairly simple, such as partitioning a large disk asset into the smaller and more manageable virtual disk. That is such as you can say creating a stripe set for stripe sets of software like RAD from read from multiple physical disks. Volume management utilities may be supplied as part of the operating system or installed as third party software. What is to mean here? जो आपका लॉजिकल वॉल्यूम मैनेजर्स है उसका टास्क है आपको सिंपली फॉर्म में आपकी पार्टीशनिंग जो होती है डिस्क में, जब आप इंस्टॉल करते हैं आपका डिस्क जो पार्टीशन होता है डाटा वो स्मॉल स्मॉल पार्ट में किया जाता है ताकि आपका डाटा एफिशिएंटली मैनेज किया जा सके. सो टू मोर मैनेजेबल आपका जो वर्चुअली हमारे डाटा को मैनेज करते हैं, लॉजिकली लिंक करते हैं, तो दैट इज टू वर्चुअली डिस्क और फेयरली कॉम्प्लेक्स होता है. So just the creating like stripes and such software like RAD we have discussed already so far very in the depth about layers also, and from the multiple disk physical disk. Volume management can be utilized like where is the part of the operating system and that installed about third party of software, you can say another one software you can be installed. So here the basically server and workstation typically support some form of storage virtualization through logical volume management. And logical volume manager is a software layer that sits between file system and operating system disk driver software. Here the logical volume manager tasks may be fairly simple, such as partitioning large disk set into smaller, as we studied already in this slide. And they can manage utilities like supplied part of operating system, install third party, all this we studied. So these are the utility, and the host CPU must be real work. And this additional CPU cycles that's required storage virtualization and have less impact on today multi-gigahertz process than the previous generation of the CPU, but more complex algorithms such as the software RAD nonetheless impose some processing overhead. The primary basically advantage of here this server based volume management is it's independent from the unique architecture of external storage target and RAD system that boards of the individual tasks under the LVM. Then control may have to drive performance characteristics like storage capacity, availability, and features. This diagram in front of you represents that disk access adapter interface, disk driver, logical volume manager, file system, applications. Is very clear to you? Data is on reside on the disk. So this figure is the logical manager that sits between upper layer of file system and underlying operating system disk driver software. So basically in this diagram, some CPU cycles that require storage which that virtualization have less impact of today of less to be gigahertz, like you can say that this logical volume manager is reside between of these one that manage all this of the data efficiently. Storage metadata server. About the storage metadata server, that traditional logical volume manager, and that is storage manager evolved on the basis of direct attached storage and quickly adapted to the new requirement imposed by storage networking. So although that's traditionally of the maintained server centric view of directly attached storage and directly attached storage and the storage centric world of the same that forcing volume management beyond its original confines. So sharing this volume mapping of the physical storage system between multiple server not only facilitate assets of sharing and server clustering is also enable distributed file level sharing via the SAN file system. आपकी जो भी फाइल्स आपकी वॉल्यूम मैनेज करती हैं फाइल्स होती हैं उनको हमें मैनेज किया जाता है वॉल्यूम मैनेजर के थ्रू. सो ये आपकी डायरेक्टली अटैच करती हैं आपके एंड ताकि हम क्विकली हम उसको थ्रू फाइल्स को देख सकते हैं एक्सेस कर सकते हैं. सो दिस कैन बी बेसिकली शेयराइज हो सकती है हमारे वर्चुअलाइजेशन मैपिंग में फिजिकल स्टोरेज के थ्रू. एंड द सैन स्टोरेज एरिया नेटवर्क दैट फाइल सिस्टम रिप्रेजेंट करता है हमारे को कॉमन व्यू ऑफ द वर्चुअलाइज वॉल्यूम. And that upper layer of the system setting on the system multiple SN can be attached to server. So in conventional file system, each server assume that it has exclusive control over the supporting volume. Next one is about server based storage API. सर्वर स्टोरेज API मीन्स आपका डाटा जो सर्वर में स्टोर होता है कुछ उसमें एप्लीकेशन इंटरफेसेस होते हैं दैट इज वी डिस्कस्ड हियर. Although the logical volume management that basically enable the server to virtualize external storage asset, and it lack the ability to dynamically interact with other virtualization entity and that may reside in the fabric or on storage arrays. Now here the tighter integration between host platform and an external virtualization intelligence require a programming interface between two so that operating system can call upon both internal and external resources to perform specific virtualization services. आपका डाटा जो है किस तरह इंटीग्रेट हुआ है एंड इंटीग्रेट करके दे कैन एक्सेस डाटा इन दिस फॉर्मेट लाइक वर्चुअलाइजेशन फॉर्मेट एंड प्रोग्रामिंग इंटरफेस हो सकता है बिटवीन टू ऑफ दिस ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम एंड कॉल अपॉन द इंटरनल एंड एक्सटर्नल रिसोर्सेज. About the virtualization at the storage target. In the virtualization storage target, they are the vendor that specific attribute of storage system often may provide avoidance services and performance advantages that may enhance the virtualization in homogeneous storage environment. जैसे कि जो हमारे वेंडर होते हैं उनकी कुछ स्पेसिफिक इंफॉर्मेशंस उनके एट्रीब्यूट्स हैं डाटा कहाँ स्टोर होता है. दे प्रोवाइड सम एडवांस सर्विसेज लाइक परफॉर्मेंस टू प्रोवाइड टू गुड एंड एडवांस सर्विसेज हो सकती हैं दैट स्कीम वर्चुअलाइजेशन ऑन होमोजीनियस स्टोरेज एनवायरनमेंट. And here we will examine that options like availability as the virtualization intelligence move from the server to the storage target. आपका डाटा किस तरह मूव करता है from server to storage. This all are maintained by the virtualization storage area. And about here to array based virtualization. In the array based virtualization, storage controller basically already provides some basic disk virtualization in the form of mirroring and read level. The physical disk basically under the storage controller direction can be grouped in the ways varying capacity and can be designed as stripped read set the performance and or data integrity, or can be assigned as primary and secondary data mirror. Storage controller typically basically include hardware assistance for complex algorithm such as the parity generation as well as cache memory to enhance input-output server. So in addition, this storage controller may offer a variety of external interfaces, so including fiber channels, and the traditional parallel can be of SCSI ports, and the storage system provides standard block port protocol access but present the product differentiation to the performance. This is about the basic of array virtualization here. And array based data replication, and replication means here the duplicacy, number of copies to be generated. So what says here the array based data replication as one of the first form of array to array virtualization. Data replication required the storage system functions such as you can say target or to its attached server as an initiator or secondary array, commonly referred to as a disk to disk data replication, and this functionality is generally available as option to on all major storage systems. This remote data facility of the high end array can be maintained, and the system AMC CSN copy between their various symmetry rings. And the array-based data replication may be synchronous and asynchronous depending on the recovery point. आपको किस पॉइंट पे उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो डिपेंड कर सकता है. ईच राइट ऑफ द प्राइमरी एरे मस्ट बी कंप्लीट ऑन द सेकेंडरी एरे बिफोर SCSI transaction acknowledgement completion, and SCSI input output is therefore depend on the speed which both write can perform, and any latency that between the two system affect overall performance. So this session will encourage the data and avoid performance degradation, and speed will be the light propagation of the delay. About the distributed modular array virtualization. Here the first generation of an AS product would be marketed and as monolithic unit that housed both file saving logic and disk array. Here the current trend is however these are towards the NS head and separated to the file serving intelligence from the disk asset. आपका डाटा जो है करंट फाइल से मूव होता है टूवर्ड्स द अनदर फाइल टू सेविंग योर डाटा एंड थ्रू विच यू कैन एक्सेस डाटा एफिशिएंटली. सो दिस सॉल्यूशन बेसिकली प्रोवाइड ग्रेटर फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी. आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग्स में चेंजेस कर सकते हैं, कनेक्टिंग कर सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो सकती है. सो डाटा रिसोर्सेज आर accommodating a greater diversity of the disk tape, like the fiber channel like SATA, SAS, and separating block storage controller like logic from disk source provide some flexibility and enable distribution of virtualization service over more resilient storage cluster. The fabric-based virtualization, basically what it's here to mean today, see that here the SEN environment, which is provide like high performance transfer of block storage and auxiliary services to the streamlined network that addressing devices discovery and notification of changes to the fabric. आपको जो भी इसके रिलेटेड चेंजेस होते हैं फैब्रिक में वो सब प्रोवाइड करता है. एंड दिस इज द एरे अबाउट द फैब्रिक बेस्ड वर्चुअलाइजेशन. And about this sentence SAN, that what is it's basically provide connectivity and between the computer platform and optimize for efficient data transport from source to destination. आपका डाटा कितने efficiently वही प्लेटफॉर्म से दूसरे में पहुंचा सकते हैं, that based on the predominantly on Ethernet and TCP/IP protocol. These networks are commonly referred as messaging network, since vast majority of data traffic is in the form of discrete file or record exchange between sender and receiver. A storage area network cannot assume that a device is particularly intelligent, and a SAN attached device may in fact be relatively challenged, as in the case of the JBOD, and that lacks reads maybe controller logic to act on its collective behalf. The basic division is between the SAN and initiators such as can be server, and SAN targets that such as storage array and tape subsystems that may reflect the active and passive role of SAN. Next, about the technique for switch based virtualization. What is the basic here the meaning to the technique? That is basically array based storage होती है. In array based storage, as we already discussed, array-based storage virtualization, that fabric-based on virtualization required additional processing power and memory on top of hardware architecture. This is concurrently basically providing processing power for fabric service and that switching to the and other tasks, because the large fabric switches are typically may be built. So on the caches of these optional blades that line out the stream, virtualization capability is that be introduced by another blades, and that will slow to the director caches and shown the as told you about the previously, that provide advantages of the tighter integration with the port cards and services storage and servers, but consume expensive director real estate for slot and could otherwise support additional and devices. So if virtualization blades is not properly engineered, so it may be degrade the overall availability of specification of directors. So because of the software virtualization produced may have been around for some of time, and it may be tempting to simply host of one of other those application. Fabric switch, that's typically software virtualization run on the window like Unix, in which the red run implies the virtualization blade, and the host software will essentially like PC on a card, and design has advantage for the vendor, at least one of its the time of market. So consequently, some vendor that may be pursuing hardware assist and virtualization for fabric switches may creating a application for specific integrated circuit. And this is the exercise that you can try it by yourself, is explain how array based virtualization is useful and what do you understand by the logical volume manager. This is all about today's session. We are winding up here. Thank you so much. Happy learning. We learn.